Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivarad Hari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivarad Hari. Gopi Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamunatira Vanachari. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, our founder Acharya, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, accepted me as his disciple in April of 1974 and gave me the name Nirantara Dasa. And by hearing and by reading his words, somehow or other, I am still, as they say, still chanting after all these years. Oh, still chanting after all these years. 50 years. Hari Bol. So, I am dedicating today's class one of my friends in Orange County. She is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Her father just passed away, so she has gone to India. And so I promised her, through her husband, that I would dedicate tonight's class for his benefit, as well as yours. His name was, let's see if I got this right, because he didn't want to use his last name, Yudhvir. So, Yudhvir, we pray that you're at the lotus feet of Krishna, and if not, may you be situated just like this in the association of devotees. Prabhupada writes, according to our God brother Achyutananda Dasa, in his introduction to the first Hare Krishna Kirtan book. Kirtan is the safest place in the material world. Did I get that right, Javinda? I remember reading that back in 1974. So this is safe here. So let's begin. Please Repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, your temple I consider to be advanced. You will prove it if you can recite after me. Sit properly. Try to repeat. Kim pramatasya bahubi. Pretty good. Parokshire hayanire iha. Varang muhurtang viditang. Gattate shreyase yata. So this is found in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of God. The Bhagavatam picks up where the Bhagavad Gita leads off. We end Bhagavad Gita with Krishna telling Arjuna, I have told you everything, now you decide what to do. Yate shasi tata kuru. And of course, Krishna's final instruction, my dear Arjuna, always think of me, worship me, bow down and offer prayers to me, become my devotee. In this way you will come to me. Give up all other processes of so-called religion and self-realization and simply surrender to me exclusively. Mam ekam. And if you do this, Arjuna, then you will become free from all sinful reactions. Ma shuchaha. Do not hesitate. Do not worry. Do not doubt. And don't worry. Be happy. Yes. If you surrender to Krishna, you'll be happy. Otherwise, why do it? I joined this movement not to undergo severe penances and austerities or twist my body like a pretzel in so many different yoga contortions. I did not join this movement for that. Why did I join this movement? To chant, dance, take prasad. Hari Bol. Best philosophy. I've said so many times to people over the years, all right, bring your religion, bring your philosophy, but do you have patra? Do you have samosa? Oh, then go away. I'm not interested. So this statement by Shukadev is where he is beginning his instructions. At the end of the first canto, 19 chapters, in that final chapter, Shukadev finally makes his appearance. And Parikshit ends the chapter by saying, now that I am on the verge of death, what is my duty? This is very nice, Parikshit, showing us by example that even at the time of death, there are duties to perform. Prabhupada writes in his Sri Ishopanishad, human life alone is a life of responsibility. So we have obligations. And the most important obligation is how to situate the mind at the time of death. As Krishna says in the Gita, that if at the time of death you can remember me, if you can think of me, you will come to me. Who wants to go to Krishna at the end. You're in the right place. You're in the right place. So, let's try to, please repeat. Shukadev is speaking to Parikshit. This is the beginning statements. Please repeat. What is the value of a prolonged life? Which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world. Very good. Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after one's supreme interest. So, we as human beings, maybe if we're lucky, 100 years we can live. In May, I will celebrate my 75th birthday. So, yeah, that's nice. But the clock is ticking, like in any sports event. Everything is within time. And they call it the 2-minute drill that can determine who wins the Super Bowl. So, I'm coming to that I'm already in the 4th quarter of my life. So, I have to get ready. Yes, very good. And no penalty flags, yes. But the key here, better a moment of full consciousness. That is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is full consciousness. And what does it say? Because that gives one a start in searching after one's supreme interest. The word was used, the Sanskrit word, shreyase. Prabhupada writes about this. 2 things, prayas and shreyas. Prayas means I do something and get an immediate result, like eating. The samosa goes in the mouth, immediate result. But shreyas is different. Shreyas means you do something for some time and the benefit comes later, like you are hoping your investments, unless Mr. whatever his name is, decides to take your 401k or your Social Security. Rascals! But that's possible. They could just wipe us out. Hare Krishna. So Shreyas means ultimate benefit. So in terms of the Gita, in terms of Bhagavatam, the ultimate interest is liberation. Freedom from the bondage of material existence. Those who know something of Hindu or Vedic philosophy, you know there are 4 principles. Dharma, religious activities, which yields artha, economic benefits, and with that, kama, sense gratification. But sense gratification, Prabhupada writes, Chapalla sukha labba lagire. That's a song. Flickering. The happiness comes and goes so very fast. That's the nature of any pleasure in the material world. It comes and goes so very fast. So, Chapalla sukha, flickering happiness. So, there's something beyond that. That is known as moksha or liberation. Freedom from this material imprisonment. The material body is like a prison suit, a jumpsuit. That's how we know we're criminals. We have the body up, You did something wrong. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You would be in the spiritual world. Sorry. We're all in the same thing together. I'm not making myself bigger than you. Now, I'm also a criminal. I have a material body. So the goal is to no more material body, exist in my original form. Later in the second canto, Shukadev will point out something. What is real liberation? Hitva sarupena vyavastati muktir. Your real liberation is to be situated in your original position. My original position, that is taught by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivera swarupahai Krishnara nityadas. My original position is that eternally I am Krishna's servant. And the whole process of self-realization is to discover what that original relationship with Krishna is. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, yes, there are these four principles, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, but there's a fifth goal, because these are called purusha arthas, goals of a human being. But there's a fifth, panchama purusha artha. My favorite topic, love of God. That is what Lord Chaitanya is giving. In this movement, we are being taught to go beyond liberation, to develop our ecstatic love for the person on the altar. Not an old man with a beard. No. Our conception of God, navayovanam, eternally youthful. Even though he's the oldest person, the original person, he looks no more than 16, maybe 25 years. And he's so, what his name means, all attractive. The very name, all Krishna. Everybody say. Everybody say. Everybody say Krishna. Krishna. That's better. So, that was called the preamble. That was the pre-class. Now we get to the real point. So, earlier this week, I was thinking I will do a class on Hanuman. I'll do a pre-Ramachandra class, but I said, no, I'm going to do that next week a lot anyway, so something different. So for you, because I've said many times, you are my favorite audience, San Diego. I want to preach on something Prabhupada composed most likely December 1966. He had recorded a record album, and on that record album, the famous Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It had a nickname, the Happening Album. So, on that record, Prabhupada also gave a purport to the Maha-mantra. And what I did was, I went to the recording, and I went word for word. I wanted to get it exactly as I heard it on the record. Because in the Veda base, there are different versions of it, some extended. So I wanted to just this one, because it was, and the album opens, as heard right? On the record album, Prabhupada begins. So we pick up the transcendental vibration by chanting of Yes, in my class, we give points for participation. All right. Is the sublime method, here it is, for reviving our Krishna consciousness. One of the very first things he is saying for the whole world, reviving. I love this word. And not only that, sublime. Sublime means something very, very nice. Something special. Sublime. But reviving, ooh. So, we should understand that consciousness of Krishna, well, he says it in the next sentence. The next sentence is, as living spiritual soul, we are all originally Krishna conscious entities. That is important point. Originally Krishna conscious entities. But due to our association with matter from time immemorial, meaning you can't trace it out, because that question always comes. How did I get here? And you're not going to figure it out. You're not going to be able to trace out, oh yes, there's a new app, and the app tells me when I entered the material. No. And that stupid artificial intelligence is not going to solve it either. This is beyond AI. No. We just have to accept we've been here a long time. So, our association, our consciousness is now polluted by material atmosphere. In this polluted concept of, here it is, we are all trying to exploit the resources of material nature, but actually we are becoming more and more entangled in her complexities. So that is our problem. We, in this very first, he nails it. He's telling you right from the get-go. Our problem is we are trying to exploit the resources of material nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, Daiviyesha gunamayi mama maya duryaya mam eviye prapat. No, I think it's another verse where he gives two definitions. One is exploit and one is utilized. It's a different verse. Anyway, where Prabhupada is translating the Gita, that the whole reason the material world exists for two purposes. One purpose is some people, they're here to exploit. Yes, Dravida? Where's your mic? You have to have a mic. You should always have a mic 24/7 strapped to you. And you should, yes. So what's the verse?
What's the clue? Exploit and...
So in the synonyms, he says, utilize or exploit. Anyway.
Maybe Purushak Prakatisto hi Bhunkte Pakati Jangunan Karananguru Sangosya Sarasajoni Janusha. That could be it.
Anyway, I don't think it's that verse, but he's giving a definition that the material energy exists for two purposes. So the non-devotees see this, and they had a term, manifest destiny. It's here for our enjoyment or exploitation. But devotees, no. The devotees utilize. There's a difference. Like we have in ISKCON, one of the first things you learn, utility is the principle. And it's based on the concept of Rupa Goswami, Yukta Vairagyam. We are in contact with so many material things. With any material thing, you can either utilize it to serve Krishna or exploit it for your own sense gratification. So the devotees, it's not that we, no. No, we're not like that. That's the Mayavad conception. The devotees' conception is, yes, Krishna has given us so many material objects and things, but it's meant to serve him. It's not meant for my self-enjoyment or exploitation. And so, that's how we become entangled in Maya's complexities. Because, what's the word I'm looking for? Intrinsically, because we're jiva, soul, atma, and anyway, he's going to come. Why should I spoil it? Because this purport is perfect. In this purport, the entire philosophy is contained. Let's continue. This illusion is called Maya, or hard struggle for existence, for winning over the stringent laws of material nature. Everybody's trying to do that. Everybody's trying to win over. What are those stringent laws? Birth, death, and the 2 that I'm going through right now, old age and disease. And that's not fun. I know when you're young, you look in the mirror. Just wait. Just wait. Anyone can tell you one day, wait, I need glasses? I was like that. I had 20/20 vision. Then one day around 45, I couldn't read. What? I need glasses? And then, oh my God, gray hair. We see the old age creep in, like in the description of Dhritarashtra. It said something like that. In time, imperceptibly takes away everything. Yes, and Krishna says, time I am. I've come to destroy. So we see ourselves day by day dwindling. And then accompanied with that, disease. And the whole game is everybody's trying to win over these stringent laws. In Los Angeles, in Hollywood, right? They're spending millions of dollars. Please, doctor, remove these wrinkles. Give me some snake venom to inject. No, it's true. I'm not making it up. Right? They'll spend any amount of money to win over the stringent laws of material nature. But you cannot. You cannot. That's why in the Gita, Manakshashtan indriyani prakriti stani karshati. Our existential situation is that we're struggling with the mind and the senses. And it's not, this is not Hinduism or, everybody's going, the Christians are going through that, the atheists, we're all in the same boat. Everybody is trying to win over the stringent laws of material nature. But here he says, this illusory struggle, so it's an illusion, but because we identify with this dream, I like that topic. I love that topic, that material existence is a dream. Some people don't like, so I don't mention it often. I have to find the right audience. Maybe you guys, some other day, you can handle the dream of material life. this illusory struggle can at once be stopped by, again, revival. Again, he's using the word revival, meaning it was almost gone, and then, you come back to life. CPR, right? You've seen so many movies, the CPR, right? That is what Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, and this movement is doing. It's giving transcendental CPR, reviving their original Krishna consciousness. That's what preaching is. Preaching means going out and reviving another person's forgotten understanding of Krishna. He continues, Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. This consciousness is the original energy of living entity. Consistent. It's our original energy is to be Krishna conscious. When we hear the transcendental vibration, this consciousness is revived. So that is why we hear as much as possible transcendental sound vibration, centered around the Hare Krishna mantra. Everybody? So that's one way, that's the primary way. But there's also these classes. This is transcendental sound vibration. So by hearing the Maha-mantra or the philosophy, the books, we are reviving our original consciousness. And this process is recommended by authorities for this age. Lord Chaitanya was taught by his spiritual master, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Chant the holy name, chant the holy name, chant the holy name. 3 times for emphasis. That is the Vedic understanding. When something is important, it's repeated 3 times. And then again 3 times. Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nasti. There's no other way. Only by this Hari Nam, the holy name of God. In Kali Yuga, by practical experience also, we can perceive that by chanting this Maha-mantra, or great chanting for deliverance. So he's giving you a English translation of what is, because we get this question, what is this Maha-mantra? Here is a very nice understanding. Great chanting for deliverance. One can at once feel transcendental ecstasy from the spiritual strata. Otherwise, did you not enjoy the kirtan when Dravida was dancing? And were you enjoying, right? Because it's transcendental sound vibration. Yes. And depending on how shall we say, lock in to the sound, you will get a certain ecstasy. When one is factually on the plane of spiritual understanding, surpassing the stages of sense, mind, and intelligence, one is situated on transcendental plane. So yes, we have our senses, we have the mind and the intelligence, but according to Gita, these are material. But there is a transcendental plane, a spiritual plane. And that's what we're trying to achieve, that platform. This chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, is directly enacted from the spiritual platform. surpassing all lower status of consciousness, namely sensual, mental, and intellectual. There is no need of understanding the language of the mantra. Yes, there is so much Sanskrit, but Prabhupada did not teach us to first study Sanskrit. No, he said just chant Hare Krishna. In fact, he wrote to one of his prominent disciples, long time, in the early 70s. Do not study Sanskrit, go to college and study. Just study my books. Everything will be there. Dravida, did you go to Sanskrit school?
No.
Right? No. How many shlokas you know? 1,000, 2,000? And you can explain, right? How did you do that? Just by chanting over and over and over. You make a comment, yes?
Well, just one thing we have to really appreciate, Prabhupada's gift of the transliterations and the word by words. Without that, you can't really memorize. Even if you just have the transliteration, you have to, and in doing that, it increases the volume of the book and so forth. But Prabhupada said, okay, you go to any other Bhagavad Gita, first Bhagavad Gita I read was this, just the translations, you know. I didn't know what to do after that, and but with the Prabhupada's Gita and the classes and so forth, you can learn. It's very wonderful.
Yes, just by repetition, you will learn so much. Okay. There's no need for understanding the language, nor is there any need of mental speculation, because people ask, so when I'm chanting, what do I do with my mind? That's simple. Just listen. Don't worry about the crazy mind. Just focus on the sound that you're making. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And when the mind wanders, this is what I do. So I'm chanting Hare Krishna, and now the mind starts to go somewhere. Hare Krishna. Bring it back. Yes. Okay, so it says here, nor any intellectual adjustment, for it springs automatically from the spiritual platform, and as such, anyone can take part in this transcendental sound vibration without any previous qualification and dance in ecstasy. We have seen it practically. Even a child can take part in the chanting, or even a dog can take part in it. There's one story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita with Shivananda saying the dog was following them, and the dog was also chanting Maha-mantra. Oh. Yes, Lord Chaitanya was feeding him green coconut pulp, and the dog was also chanting. Even when Lord Chaitanya went through the Jharkhand forest, the animals became influenced by his superior potency of love of God. And the animals were becoming, although normally they would be antagonistic with each other, everybody was peaceful. The chanting should be heard from the lips.
Haribol,
Yep.
just one quick comment.
Yes, of course.
You're reading that address, you know, and Prabhupada, of course, established 22nd Avenue was very early on. There's so many remembrances, devotees who were there, and this, Prabhupada says even a dog can take part. And immediately you think of that pastime in the CC. But apparently there was a kirtan in the early days. Prabhupada, he would go out sometimes with the devotees, maybe to the west side, and he would be on the kirtan. And there was a dog who was following, and he connected that particular thing.
The value of veteran preachers. They can give you nice insights. That's why I always like it when you're there. I feel safe with you there in your little spot. there should be a sign, Dravida's Corner.
We grew up in the same little town in Hempstead, Long Island. I didn't know that until I joined the movement, and it reminded me.
But we never met until we were in Brooklyn Temple. The chanting should be heard from the lips of a pure devotee of the Lord, so that immediate effect can be achieved. As far as possible, chanting from the lips of non-devotee should be avoided, as much as milk touched by the lips of a serpent causes poisonous effect. So this is very, very, how should we say, interesting that Prabhupada is mentioning this early on. For us, we had no problem. We had Prabhupada, and we had no doubts that Prabhupada was a pure devotee of the Lord. And we had his, like back in those days, cassettes. And if you were a brahmachari, you were lucky if you had 3 or 4 cassettes, because brahmacharis didn't have any money in the temple. You got toothpaste, a toothbrush, a razor, soap, and a dhoti. In fact, when I joined, it was communal. So there'd be a big basket of dhotis, first come, first serve, and sometimes you were given, this doesn't even fit, or a curtain. It was like, so you didn't have much. So if you had what to speak, I remember probably 74, all of a sudden Panasonic came out with a small cassette recorder. Well, that became a hot item in ISKCON. Everybody had to have their Panasonic cassette recorder. And if you could get some tapes, and you would hear. But as far as we were concerned, we had Prabhupada, we have nothing to worry about. Now he gets into the technicalities. The word hara is the form of addressing the energy of the Lord. Both Krishna and Rama are form of addressing directly the Lord, and they mean the highest pleasure eternal. Hara is the supreme pleasure potency of the Lord. This potency, when addressed as Hare, helps us in reaching the Supreme Lord. The material energy, called as Maya, is also one of the multipotencies of the Lord, as much as we are also marginal potency of the Lord. So this is important. Our philosophy is centered around Lord Chaitanya's philosophy, Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, that everything can be understood as being simultaneously one and at the same time different from God. So there are some philosophies that teach, oh, you are God, but you just forgot. Now practice meditation and you'll remember that you're God. And Prabhupada's response is, well, if that's true, Krishna must be a different kind of God, because he never forgets that he's God. So there must be a difference between Krishna and whatever. So yes, we are marginal. We're God, and at the same time, not. We are part and parcel of God. And the example I've been giving for 50 years works every time. The sun and the sun rays. In quality, the particles of sunlight are non-different from the sun. The energy is the same. But the sun ray is poquita pequeña. And the sun is huge. So yes, we are called Anu, atomic. And God, Krishna, is Vibhu, all-powerful, almighty. So Vibhu and Anu, they're equal in quality. We are spiritual. After all, the first teaching of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhu, step outside your body. I want to talk to you because you're not your body. Are you your car? No. If I come up to you and say, oh, hello, Mrs. Mercedes, you'll go, what are you talking about? But that's the same thing. If I address you in terms of the material body, that's addressing you by your car. No, you're the driver of the car or the passenger. And Krishna uses that. Yantara rudhani mayaya. You are seated on a machine made of material energy. Even the great devotee George Harrison sang in one of his songs, use my body like a car, taking me both near and far, as I'm living in this material world. Very nice in that song, because that song was definitely influenced by Prabhupada and his teachings. If you look at the way that song goes, and then there's the song part called The Bridge, and it's a rock and roll song, and all of a sudden, tablas come in, tamboras come in the spiritual sky. Oh, it's so nice. So nice to hear how Prabhupada was able to influence, as he said, this nice young boy and impregnate with him the essence of Krishna conscious philosophy. One time, I believe it was 1988, I went to Mayapur and I decided, they have this service, get a massage. So they had this one, I think his name was Shamasundara, some Bengali local. So I said, oh, good. And he's giving me the massage. And he's telling me, yes, I gave massage to George Harrison. I said, really? He goes, yes, and he knows many shlokas. So I was impressed. He wasn't a fake devotee. He was real devotee. So we are marginal potency. What is that marginal potency is? Problem is, we can go either way. We can be under the influence of the material energy or under the influence of the spiritual energy. Therefore, yate shasi tata kuru. Arjuna, choose what you want. Now, we all have experience of what it's like to be under the control of the material energy. We all know what that's like. We're struggling with it right now. But we can also be under the influence of the Daivi Prakriti, the spiritual nature. And it's so easy. Hearing and chanting transcendental sound vibration. If you're always linked up with spiritual sound vibration, you're above the material energy. Dravida and I, we knew a devotee, Kapindra Das. He was an Hasidic Jew. He had the sideburn, sikas. And he became a devotee. And he was older than most of us. Looked like he was already in his 30s and 40s. We were in our 20s. But he understood this. He was always chanting shlokas. You do your japa in the temple, and then you have service to do. If you live in the temple, you can't just eat and sleep there. No. There's a temple commander. Hey, you clean the bathroom. Go. Mop up the floors. You go to kitchen. Cut up vegetables, or worse, clean the pots. Oh, man. Because cleaning the pots, you had to get every black stain And if there was any black, Prabhu, go back and clean. I just spent an hour. It's got black spots. Prabhupada said, get the black spots. So you would scrub and scrub. And the end of the day, like your fingers are like, oh, God. So this Kapindra Das, all throughout the day, he was chanting shlokas, right? And he'd be like, he'd been sitting down, samsara davan analida. He was always in transcendental sound vibration. And I remember in the evening, we would drink hot milk. We'd get 2 cups, styrofoam cups. It had hot, boiling hot milk with a little banana and a little sugar, because the system was, Prabhupada said, you sweeten the milk so that when you drink it, does it have sugar in it? It just should be very subtle. But it'd be so hot, so you'd have to pour it to air it out, to cool it down. And while we were doing that, somebody would read Krishna book. This is how you, before going to bed, you'd be in the basement, sitting on the linoleum floor, and you would be drinking your hot milk, and somebody would reading Krishna book, and then, inevitable, some prasadam would fall on the floor. Kapindra Das taught us, prasadam is Krishna, you cannot waste. And he would go down on his hands and knees and lick it up. Even a drop of milk, he was so fixed, all the while chanting some shlokas or some prayers. Amazing devotee. Okay, let's get back to Prabhupada. So, the living entities are described as superior energy than matter. This is also explained at the end of the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where you have the senses, then you have the mind, intelligence, but above all that is the soul. And above the soul, super soul, Krishna. When the superior energy is in contact with inferior energy, it becomes an incompatible situation. That is why we are not happy trying to enjoy this material world. Because we're spiritual entities trying to enjoy gross matter, but we're not designed for that. We are not Purusha, although the Vedas sometimes refer to the living entity as Purusha, but actually we are Prakriti, energy. So we are not really meant, we're not designed to enjoy the material energy. We are designed for service. That is our constitution. Always we will be servant. Even in the kingdom of God, even liberation, we will still be servant. What? I don't want to be a servant. Sorry, that's what we are. And you have 2 choices. You want to serve what's going on now in the material world? Huh? You want to serve these idiots? Or do you want to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead? I know what I want to do. I want to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All in favor say Hari Bol. Good. I'm tired of serving these, what is it called? Bad taskmasters. Yes, there's a, you know that shloka? I've served these, I know you know the shloka. I've served these senses.
Shall I do the poem?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kama dinang katina katita palita dunideshas tesham jata maina kaduna nattapano prashantihi utrajaitan atayatapate sampratam labna buddhis tvamayatak sadanamabayam mam niyung swatmadasye. In how many ways have I sought to obey the seductive demands of my wicked desires? They've shown me no mercy. Yet on I've gone shamelessly trying to quench lust's unquenchable fires. But now I'm rejecting these hellish desires, for my higher intelligence now has awoken. O Krishna, O shelter of fearlessness, please let me serve you with faith that will never be broken.
Jai. Wow. Nobody chants shlokas like you. You are Shloka Acharya. Yes. What's that, boss?
I'm hoping to go back home, back to Shloka Loka.
Jai, Jai. Well, by what we're hearing, sound vibration, you're locked in. When the superior energy is in contact with inferior energy, it becomes an incompatible situation. But when the supreme marginal potency is in contact with spiritual potency, hara, it becomes the happy, normal condition of living entity. That's Krishna consciousness. The three words, everybody say, Hara, Krishna, Rama, are transcendental seeds of the Maha-mantra, and the chanting is spiritual call for the Lord and his internal energy, Hara, for giving protection to the conditioned soul. This chanting is exactly like genuine cry by the child from mother. Anyone who's been on an airplane, especially in a red-eye flight, right? The plane is dark, and you're thinking, okay, I've got my earplugs. I will now take rest. But all of a sudden, you hear some child, and it's in the front of the plane, but that sound vibration just pierces through everything, and you can't fall asleep on the plane. Anybody have that experience? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It just, that's almost transcendental sound vibration. It just pierces, and you can have headphones on, right? That sound just, and it's hard enough sleeping in an economy seat, right? You're going on like I used to go to Panama, so that was a 6.5 hour flight. And I would go to Santiago, that was 11, 13, 14 hours. And I used to go the red-eye flight. Nevertheless, there'd always be some kid, some child, crying. But that's how we're to cry out to Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Mother Hara helps in achieving the grace of the Supreme Father, Hari. Everybody say, Hari. Or Krishna. And the Lord reveals himself to such a sincere devotee. So, I use this point when I'm preaching to Christians. If they ask me, well, why don't you worship Jesus? And I said, I worship Jesus. I have full faith in Jesus. Because Jesus said, nobody goes to the Father but through me. I believe that. But then I tell them, but Jesus showed me the Father. Here he is. Here's the Father. You can't deny me. I know. You may say, but I'm convinced Jesus showed me the Father. Thank you, Jesus. Here is the Father. As he says here, Hari. No other means, therefore, of spiritual realization is as effective in this age as the chanting Maha-mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. May you all get the blessings of Lord Ram, Sita, Lakshman, and especially Hanuman. Thank you very much. May Krishna bless you and maintain you. It was a privilege to to speak for you. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Nirantara Prabhu. Thank you so much.